Now, joining us in the studio with Joy Business Research and Analyst Philip Namful. He's going to give us some education on MPC, that's the Monetary Policy Committee, and other related matters. Philip is here. Philip, good afternoon.
Thank you very much, Mr. Howard.
So what exactly is the Monetary Policy Committee?
Okay, so it's a unit within the Bank of Ghana, or a committee within the Bank of Ghana, that has a key role in ensuring that there's price stability, that's inflation, so checking the level of inflation. That's in summary what the Monetary Policy Committee meets to do. But I've prepared an infographic with bits of information of what they do, who makes up the Monetary Policy Committee, and how many times they meet. So let's take a look at that first.
All right, so those are some tidbits of the Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank. Now, Philip, what more can you tell us about MPC?
Okay, so it's the committee, like you said. They meet 6 times a year: January, March, May, July, September, and November. When they meet, they're supposed to use a monetary policy rate, which we are very accustomed to ensure that there's a certain level of inflation within the economy. So they use that to steer the level of money supply in the economy. That should influence the level of credit in the economy, and to influence the level of goods and services that are demanded by you and I. So that's exactly what they do. Their overall aim is to ensure that inflation is in check.
Now, it's also become synonymous with interest rates. Anytime they announce policy rates, we want a translation into interest rates. Why is it so?
Okay, so currently interest rates, average interest rates in the economy, lending rates, stand about 27.8%. Now, the monetary policy rate is supposed to influence what banks give you and I, and that will influence the level of credit in the system and then the level of goods and services. Now, last year in April 2018, the Bank of Ghana, together with the Ghana Association of Bankers, put together the Ghana reference rate, which is supposed to make markets or lending rates more market friendly. Prior to that, we were using the base rate model. But I put together again what the Ghana reference rate is about. Let's take a look at that, and then we'll have the conversation going on from there.
All right, so any more information about the MPC, its relationship with, especially the policy rate, is it automatic that when we have a lowering of the policy rate, we should have a lowering of cost of credit?
Okay, so I've put together the components of the monetary policy, of the Ghana reference rate, I beg your pardon. There are 3 main components: the monetary policy rate, that's 1, the 91-day treasury bill rate, that's 2, and then the interbank lending rate. So these 3 components affect the lending rates in the system. So banks are supposed to refer to, that's why it's called the reference rate. Okay. So you refer to the reference rate, then from there you have your lending rate by adding a premium or subtracting a premium to that Ghana reference rate. Currently it's 16.11. It's computed on a monthly basis. I want us to look at that Ghana reference rate I put together and see the breakdown for it.
So those were the features of the Ghana reference rate. So what makes up lending rates as we speak now?
Okay, so it's derived from the reference rate. And if you look at our infograph, 40% of the weight is attributed to the monetary policy rate, 20% is to the interbank rate, and another 40% to the 91-day treasury bill rate, which is discounted by the cash in vote and then the cash reserve ratio. That's not necessary for us now. But basically, if the monetary policy rate moves and then the treasury bill rate moves, then we should have a lower reference rate that's moved downwards, which will translate into lending rates. But it takes some time for this to really transmit. That's where the governor uses the term transmission mechanism. Also, at the CEO summit, the governor mentioned that the non-performing loans are biting to the lower lending rates we want to see.
Exactly.
So till the banks steady that, and till we have a downward trend of these three components of the Ghana reference rate, interest rates will trend where they are, and that's 27.8%. If these things go downwards, then we'll have positive and low lending rates.
Thank you very much for that financial education. And I was Philip Namfuri, our research analyst.